A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to Saurabh Sir classes, and I'm Chinu Thakur Jaiswal. We were discussing paper that is GS Studies 2024. अभी recent ये paper हुआ है and we have given all the answers. तो answer की ज़रूर check कर लीजिएगा. सारे answers is already mentioned in the classes. So we have done question number 1, 2, 3 already. Question number 4, A, B is already uploaded. Now question C, D, E will complete this in this class, and then you just focus on your upcoming examination. That's really important. So question number C is asking, explain the discretionary power of the president of India. So this civics portion is really important, and I'll let you know the correct way to write your answer. ठीक है, वो आपका एप्टीट्यूड चेक करते हैं एग्जामिनर की भाई आंसर सबको पता होता है बट आप लिखते कैसे, हाउ यू रिप्रेजेंट योर पॉइंट्स इन दी स्ट्रीमलाइन, आपको कैसे लिखना है, आपके फैक्ट्स कैसे होने चाहिए. चलिए बताते हैं इस आंसर को, एंड आई होप यू लाइक द वीडियो. सो पसंद आए तो लाइक कीजिएगा, शेयर कीजिएगा, सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा. सो गाइस, द्रौपदी मुर्मू इज अवर 15th, yes 15, she is our 15th president of India and she's really powerful lady. Okay, yes. So let's see the powers of president. So examiner can ask you some more question on the basis of this. Like they can ask you the executive powers of President of India, legislative powers also, financial power, judicial power. So different power. Now in this question paper they asked you discretionary powers of the president. So these are the powers which you can mention in your answer. जिसे आप हिंदी में विवेकाधीन शक्तियों के नाम से भी जानते हैं. It means the person can be decided anything but with their full mind, full conscious, and rather than being controlled by rules or relating to the power. Okay. So these are the discretionary powers which a president can enjoy. The appointment of the prime minister, when no single party gains a clear majority, जब किसी single party को clear majority नहीं मिलती. For example, लोकसभा elections होते हैं but कोई party single majority में नहीं आती, then president can choose the prime minister. ठीक है, she can appoint or he can appoint the prime minister, use his or her discretionary power. And we can say that president will invite the leader who seems to most likely to command a majority. Then dismissal of the government. President has the power to dismiss the government before its time. Like if the government loses the confidence of the Lok Sabha but refuse to resign, then president can dismiss the prime minister and the council of ministers. After the dissolution of Lok Sabha, we have know about the powers and about the tenure of the Lok Sabha. Okay, but if presidents during the situation when the government has lost its majority, then they have don't have any alternative, the president may dissolve the house independently. She doesn't need any kind of important decision from anyone else. Okay, then next point is reservation bills for consideration. Bills you have to read out in a very corrective way, because there is a bill, money bill, which is important, and there various time I have seen the question related to this particular bill. So you have to read about money bill, who passed that, who has the power to pass it, and uh, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha have their opinions about money bill, who can have control on this decision also. Okay, so this is important. So reservation of bills for consideration, the president can withhold assent to a bill, and additionally it can refer bills to the Supreme Court also for advice on their constitutionality. Then promulgations of the ordinances, the president can issue ordinance when parliament is not in session. Ordinance क्या होता है, एक तरह का एक पत्र है, एक सूचना पत्र और the like order kind of. ठीक है, so ordinance she can or he can pass. The power is discretionary but usually exercised on the advice of the council minister. डिस्क्रिशनरी मतलब वो अपने विवेक से अपने दिमाग से सोच सकते हैं, डिसीजन ले सकते हैं, बट दे रियली टेक एडवाइस ऑफ द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर. पूरा एकदम ब्लाइंडली अपने मन से नहीं चलते. डिसीजन मेकिंग इन इमरजेंसीज, ड्यूरिंग अ नेशनल इमरजेंसी द प्रेसिडेंट कैन एक्सरसाइज सिग्निफिकेंट डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर, स्पेशली इफ देयर इज अ ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मशीनरी. आई होप अब आपको समझ में आ गया होगा तो कि जो पावर्स होती है वो होता क्या है. The discretionary power ensure that the president can act as a stabilizing force during time of political uncertainty. So these are the points which you can use in your answer as a point. Okay, or any kind of questions if you want to ask, you can directly comment on this channel and we'll definitely help you out. Now the next question is question number D. Describe the constitutional provision regarding the Finance Commission of India and explain its functions. Okay, so let's see how you write this answer in a proper way. Finance Commission of India, as the word denotes, related with the finance of India. Okay, so what are the important functions of Finance Commission of India is tax revenue distributions. Okay, it recommends the sharing of tax like income tax between the union and states, then grant in aid, such as grants to state from the union consolidating fund, then debt management, recommends measure for the debt consolidation and fiscal disciplines, and financial relation. So it is established in article under Article 280. So some important information you can give in your answer. And the Finance Commission of India is an important constitutional body. Okay, what is the main responsibility is already mentioned in the points also, and here also I can tell you this, that it recommendations regarding how tax income should be divided between the federal government, state and individual state. So this function is belongs to Finance Commission of India. The President of India appoints commission's chairman. There is always one chairman of commissions and other are members who are usually financial and economic specialists. Every 5 years, or as the president specify, it is constituted. Okay, so the Finance Commission has two main responsibility. One is allocating tax revenue and granting it and offering recommendation on issue pertaining to fiscal federalism. The Commission determines the guidelines for income sharing by evaluating the federal government and state financial standing. Okay. The Commission also offers a recommendation on how to enhance the financial management of both government level. In the interest of prudent fiscal policy, it also take into account any additional matters that President refers to. So these are the important factual information which you can use in your answer. So put it simply. So this is your conclusion, and conclusion is must, guys. Don't forget to write conclusion in the last of your answers. The Finance Commission is essential to preserving the Indian physical stability and equity amongst the various level of government. So this is the right way to write your answer. I hope you understand this. Let's move on the next question. Next and the last question of this paper is give justification for India's claim for permanent membership of the United Nations Security Council. So let's see how you write this answer. Before I start my answer, I have to tell you something about UNSC. I definitely know that you know about the UNSC, but still we have to give a little informations in our answer also. So what is this? That is security, United Nations Security Council. Okay, United Nations Security Council, which is founded on 24th of October 1945. Okay, so why it's so important? Because it is one of the 6 principal organ of the United Nations. यूनाइटेड नेशंस एक बनाया गया था जिसका मोटिव यही था कि अब दोबारा से कोई भी वर्ल्ड वॉर नहीं होना चाहिए. ठीक है, it was made for unite the all over nations. So United Nations Security Council is the part of the 6 principal organ of that United Nation, and it is charged with ensuring international peace and security. इसका mainly जो function था वो था international peace and security. Okay, sorry, peace and security. सॉरी फॉर द राइटिंग गाइस, ठीक है। Recommendation the admission of new UN members to the General Assembly and approving any changes to UN character, तो वो इस सारा काम इसका करता है। अब यहाँ पर इंडिया क्लेम कर रहा है कि उसे परमानेंट मेंबरशिप दे दी जाए, ठीक है। और उसके ग्राउंड्स क्या है? The points which given by the Indians to make a complete membership or a permanent membership in United Nations. The first point they are giving that population and size. India is the world's second most populous country and not the second. Now it's first. Okay, populous country and one of the largest in terms of geographical area, representing a significant portion of humanity. So it want to be a permanent member of UNC. Okay. And why it's demanding so? Because there are some nations like China, Russia, UK, France, and US. They all are become the permanent member of United Nations Security Council. So India also wants a permanent membership. Okay. So these are the important point which we can write over it ki why India can take this opportunity. So number one point, population and size, which already discussed. Another important point is economic power. It is among the world's largest economy, contributing significantly to global GDP. हमारा GDP और ट्रेड बहुत ज़्यादा डेवलप होता जा रहा है और ये डेवलपमेंट के कारण ही वी कैन एश्योर दैट कि हम लोग भी पार्टिसिपेट जो मेंबरशिप्स है परमानेंट वो ले सकते हैं, तो हमें भी परमानेंट मेंबरशिप मिलनी चाहिए। नाउ द थर्ड पॉइंट इज मिलिट्री स्ट्रेंथ। इंडिया पोजेस सब्सटेंशियल मिलिट्री कैपेबिलिटी कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टू पीस कीपिंग ऑपरेशंस एंड ग्लोबल सिक्योरिटी एफर्ट्स अंडर यूएन ऑस्पिशियस। ये तो बिल्कुल जग जाहिर है कि मिलिट्री स्ट्रेंथ जो है इंडिया की कंटिन्यूसली बढ़ती ही जा रही है एंड वी आर इन अ वेरी गुड शेप। तो इसकी वजह से भी एक पॉइंट हम दे सकते हैं कि नाउ वी आर प्रिपेयर्ड टू बी अ मेंबर परमानेंट मेंबर ऑफ यूएन। देन डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यू। As the world's largest democracy, India upholds democratic principle and promotes inclusive decision making within international forums. अब जब भी कोई ऐसे इंटरनेशनल फोरम्स प्लेटफॉर्म्स या मीटिंग्स होती हैं, सेशंस होते हैं, तो उसमें इंडिया का दबदबा बहुत ज़्यादा रहता है। Next point is commitment to peacekeeping. India has a long-standing history of contributing troops to UN peacekeeping mission. जब भी कोई ऐसा मिशन होता है कहीं पर भी ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड में, तो इंडिया के ट्रूप्स जाते हैं और ऐसे एफर्ट्स में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं। So these demonstrating its commitment to global peace and security. Another point is regional leadership. It plays a pivotal role or important role in South Asia and beyond, fostering regional stability and cooperation. So this is the conclusion we can write that India bid for, just a second. India bid for permanent UNC membership aligned with the principle of inclusivity and representation, ensuring that diverse range of global perspectives are reflected in crucial decisions affecting international peace and security as a responsible global actor. India seeks to enhance the effectiveness and legitimacy of the UNC by contributing its strength and valuable global गवर्नेंस एफर्ट्स। तो दीज पॉइंट्स आर रियली इम्पॉर्टेंट और यहाँ पर हमें बिल्कुल यूएनएससी का परमानेंट मेंबरशिप मिलना ही चाहिए। सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट दिस सेशन। सारे क्वेश्चंस हम लोग डिस्कस कर चुके हैं। दिस इज लास्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन पेपर। अगर आपको क्लासेस अच्छी लगती हैं तो प्लीज़ लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और इफ़ यू हैव एनी इंक्वायरी so you can directly call to the Saurabh classes and we are happy to help you. Okay, so bye bye, thank you so much, we'll meet soon with our new class and on new topic.